you can have some questions. I'll pick and choose some of the questions to answer. Okay. So firstly, of course, the main first thing is the disclaimer. While the accuracy of information printed or presented here, I'm not responsible and can accept for any loss of inconvenience caused by any error or omission. So all these things is actually all the research that I've done. I really hope that I can give you all some insight of how I look at properties. So today what I'm going to share three things. First is actually the project selection itself, because today one of the two main things I'm going to share is about unit selection and project selection. So what are the key main things that I actually look at when I actually select a project and a property for myself to buy, of course for my clients also. And the last thing is, when do we sell the property? So I will show some example, and of course at the last part I will show you based on a very live property in the market itself, how based on that property I analyze, and how I derive that based on that property itself, the condo itself, what are the units that I will be looking at. Okay, so for the first one, how do I derive whether a property or rather a project is something that I want to look into? The first very important factors, I always look into the profit margin of the developer itself. So now there's two examples that's right in front of us. One is actually Skyview, and the other one is actually Sky Habitat. You look at my cursor, you can see that they are actually side by side. So Sky Habitat is here, Skyview is just right beside. And why am I taking these two examples? Because the key thing is that they are nearby, very close by, and their land price is very close. Sky Habitat bought at 869, Skyview bought at 852. And their break-even price is also very close. One is about 1,315, the other one is 1,334. Okay. One of the key factors is also that they actually are from the same developer itself. So in fact, everything is almost similar, but the result turned out to be different because of the profit margin that we are looking at. Okay. So now the first thing, if you look at this, chart, the blue color line is actually Sky Habitat. So they are launched in 2012, and they are launched at a price of about 1,600 per square foot, which we refer back to the slide just now, which means that they are looking at a profit margin of about $300, which is, I can't say considered super high, but is a decent amount for the developer itself. So with a $300 profit margin, they launched at 1.6. Along the way, the market start to because in 2012 end, the ABSD came out, and there's a lot of supply coming in, and the whole market actually come in a way that the sentiment is not that good. So developers start to reduce the price at this point, and as you can see at the end, they are selling, the resale market are going at about 1.4 to 1.5 per square foot. But whereas a project that's right beside have a very different outcome. You look at Skyview, launched at 2013, where the market is very soft. At that point of time, not everybody is rushing into buying a property. If you remember, you recall back in 2012, it's a point that everyone want to grab a piece of property. If you got money, you want to rush into a show flat to buy. But 2013 is a very different market. Market start to slow down. Buyers start to be very cautious. So developer launch at a point that is exactly at the break-even price of the project itself. They bought the land at 800 plus, their break-even is at 1,003. They launched at 1,003 initially. And they sold a good number of units. After that, they start to push up the prices, because as developer, usually, most of the time, when they build a project, definitely they need to make money. So I'm not saying that project that have good profit margin is definitely a bad project. I'm not saying that. But what I'm trying to say here is that if you look at a project with no profit margin, there's a high chance that the developer at a certain point, they have to push up the prices, which is what happened to Skyview. At the end of the 2019, the resale owner is all selling at about $1,700, $1,800 per square foot, because in between, the developer itself actually increased the price. Okay, so we look at the next two. First one is actually Sky Habitat. You can see there's some owners that actually lost money from here, as high as 600 over 1,000. But the difference is that in Skyview, 55 owners actually make money, and quite a number of them actually made a decent profit of almost $200,000 to $300,000. So with this, I've done some research, and I realized that I would for myself, I'm not saying that you all have to totally follow what I'm saying, but for myself, usually I will follow by this, and I realize that it's quite safe for us to enter a project that the profit margin is actually on the low side. So this actually have one thing, because there's a good chance the developer is going to push up the price in future. Okay, so next, I'm going to share three examples, one HDB and two private condo. Why am I sharing this? Because I want to let you all see based on how does the property market move. Because in Singapore it's very different. Like our friend Kevin Fong yesterday shared, in Singapore it's not like overseas. Overseas, when property A go up, property B will actually increase in prices also. But in Singapore is property A can go up, but right beside property B, the price can go down. So what are the key things that we want to determine whether these are the properties that will be beneficial for us, will be properties that will make money? So I just share an example in this example. Punggol 5-room, block 646. I just take one block as an example, but of course, Punggol, from what I realized, where there is a lot of BTO coming up, usually the prices is a bit more soft for the older HDB, because buyer tends to want to go for the newer HDB. So you see in 2012, which this Punggol is, the tenure is from 2005. So 2012, they are about 7 years old. They are selling at about a range of 580,000 to all the way to 650,000. But down to 2018, the price actually dropped to about 400 over thousand, which means they actually incur a loss of about 200 over thousand. Those buyers who bought here, okay. So looking at this at the time frame of 2012 to 2018, which means that I do feel that if a HDB were to drop, a private condo nearby, by right, should behave in the same manner. I can't say that it will drop as much as 200,000, but from logical example, it should be also moving downwards. So we take an example of the same time frame, 2012 to 2018, which is another condo nearby called River House. You look at this, they all bought in 2012, 2013, and they sell their property in 2018, 2019. Actually, all of them in these particular developments, they are making money. So what am I sharing here? If we stay put and don't do anything to our property, sometimes we actually will have in a way that there's also risk if you don't move, because there's a lot of things happening. If the owner of this particular HDB 646 HDB owner, they will have to, if they sell in 2012 and they were sold to this River House back in 2012, they would have saved up about 400,000. Why would I say 400,000? Because the drop of 200,000 will be prevented, and they will make a profit of 200,000 in River House. So last time we all used to think, I myself used to think, buy property and hold, because we can continue buying property without ABSD. But in today's market, the market is a bit different, because when we want to buy a second property, or third property, we will be incurring ABSD. So in certain fact, at a certain point, we need to do some changes to our property, our asset, to see whether, based on our property itself, whether there will be more upside to be coming. Of course, all these things you can check with all your PropNex agent. All of them are very well educated, and they're all taught in all these ways to look at the data to guide you along. Okay, so now I'm going to share with you based on another condo, which is two condo, which is very nearby each other, High Park and H2O. Okay, so if you look at the chart, the blue color is actually H2O, launched in 2012. So from the launch to the TOP, 2015 H2O TOP, the price actually all the way moved upwards. But if you realize from 2015 here, after the TOP, all the way to 2020, the price is actually falling a bit, or I can say it's very stagnant. But yet, a condo right beside H2O, High Park Residence, that is launched in 2015, the price shoot up. So what I'm trying to say, if this owner, H2O, were to sell here and change here, they will have made another round of profit, which is what I'm going to show you next. You see, H2O owner bought in 2011. I take two examples of the same size, 883, sold in 2014, make 110,000 profit. Okay. Another owner bought in 2012, 883 square feet also, sold in 2019, make 96,000, which means the second owner, which hold another 5 years, they actually didn't make more money. The amount of money they make is exactly the same. Okay. And the key thing is that if this first owner sold the house in 2014, they would be in time to buy High Park residences, which is very nearby to H2O, in 2015. And at the same time frame, 2019, we are looking at a time frame from 2011 to 2019. One of them hold all the way. One of them change the property, just for example, okay? And this owner will make an additional 351,000. So if the owner were to sell H2O in 2014 and enter High Park in 2015, sell High Park in 2019, they will be looking at a profit of $451,000. Whereas the H2O owner who hold all the way, we are only looking at 100,000 profit. So in this example, I actually see one thing that is very important, which is, to be frank, most of the time we need to reanalyze our property holding, see whether is there any opportunity out there, or is it a good time to sell my property, or I need to hold my property a bit more. All these things I will share with you later on a bit more. Okay, where I see, I think there's some. Okay, so I'm going to continue here. This is another example. I'm going to show you. This is the last example. Then I'm going to move on to the how do we select a unit based on certain development itself. So we see all the example I take is example that is close by to each other. Okay, MV and Coco Palm is two condo that is really right beside each other. So you look at this example. MV bought in 2011, launch. TOP in 2014. So you see the chart is very obvious. It goes straight up. From 2014, it starts to come down. And today in 2019, 2020, it's slightly below $1,000 per square foot. So if owners sell anything here, change to Coco Palm, what is going to happen? So I'm going to show you. So you see MV. MV is a slightly different example. You see this, you look at my cursor. The one who bought in 2010, sold in 2013, make $200,000. Okay. The other owners bought another same size unit, 2010, sold in 2019. They hold another 6 years, but their profit dropped by 100,000. So doesn't mean that you hold longer, you will make more money. Actually, this example is very clearly stated that. And the key thing is that this owner actually bought the unit cheaper. So he actually bought cheaper and he made lesser money, because when he's selling, the price of MV have already fallen. Why is that so? Because in MV area, there's a lot of new developments coming up. So usually when there's a lot of new ones coming out, the old ones sometimes will start to lose, the price will start to be softened, even like HDB. So you have to be very, how do I say, very observant about what is happening in your surrounding. Of course, you can also seek advice from your agent itself, okay? So why am I showing you this? Because if I sold MB in 2013, I would be able to come into Coco Palm in 2014, which in 2019, I will make another $200,000. So if I will have changed, I make 400. If I hold on, I make 100. Two examples, we have exactly the same scenario. But of course, one of them is that MB, the price actually did come down slightly. Okay, so this is just 3 examples. Of course, I can't say that this example will be exactly based on your property itself. For your property, I will advise that you will go to your agents. They will be able to do all these analysis for you to let you understand whether is it a good time for you to sell, or whether is it a good time for you to buy, or whether is it a good time for you to do nothing. I base on a lot of analysis and facts to advise myself and my customer. Okay. So next, I'm going to come in straight into the point about how do we actually select a unit. I'm going to show you 4 examples. Of course, the first example, I'm going to just run through some of because all 4 examples, there is different scenario. Why? Properties, there is some that is high rise, some that is low rise, some that is mass market, and some that is nearer to town. So actually different estate, different district that we are talking about, we look at different things to determine whether what type of unit will suit us. In fact, to be very frank, property, whether it will go up or go down, it's always determined by demand and supply. So if you look at the unit selection, you will understand that when a certain property there's a good demand, or a certain unit there's a good demand, the price will actually go up. Okay, so now we see. So now, first thing, there's a few things that will help you make money in property. First is, of course, demand and supply. Second thing is, of course, the entry price that we are going into. I'm going to show you this Commonwealth Tower. You look at this, 1809, which is this tag. So this tag, you can see my cursor facing the nice pool view, which is considered a good stack. Versus this stack 20, facing Queen's Peak, which means that you are facing directly into Queen's Peak. You can't see anything. Okay. In fact, when I ask all my clients, between these two, which one will you choose if you are a buyer? 99% choose stack 9. Okay. Now we look at the second one. Stack 7, third floor and 39th floor. So 39th floor, super high floor, unblocked view. Third floor, you should be high chance blocked by the tree. Where's my cursor? The tree in front of you. So your view is very, very limited. Okay. So I also asked my client, a lot of them will choose 39th floor. So now we run through a test to see which one actually make more money from the, there's some, which one actually make more money for the property itself. Okay, so now we see, you see 1809 is the pool view unit, unblocked pool view, nice view, makes $64,000, same size both. 1920 is a block view unit, which is unit that we usually will want to, unit that we don't want to buy, make $181,000. So what I'm trying to show you here, it doesn't mean that when you buy a best view unit, you make the most money. Second example, third floor, it's 39th floor, 07, make $131,000. Third floor, make $345,000, a difference of 214. When I look at all this, I'm actually quite shocked by the numbers also. But after I analyze and I start to realize what is happening. So you look at this 39th floor and third floor. Most of the time, we usually will think that 39th floor have the best view. You can sell a good price. You can. It's easy for you to sell. It's nice for you to stay. In fact, that's not wrong. But when you look at the key thing is that the sales price 39th floor, most of the time will be selling at a higher price than the third floor unit, which is true. 39th floor sold 36 per square foot, higher than the third floor unit. But now we look at the purchase price. Third floor, 1379. 39th floor, 1726 per square foot. The difference of $350 when they buy. Why? Because at the launch, developer have to sell the whole stack together one shot. If they don't stagger the price and have a difference in terms of prices, who will buy the third floor? Nobody will buy the third floor because everybody will want to go to the higher floor. Correct? So they have to add on a certain amount of price for each unit, which means that let's say $8,000 per unit. 39th floor, 30th floor difference is equivalent to about $240,000 difference in profit, in purchase price. But in resale market, it's a very different market. Why I say so? Resale market is, it can be at a point that when you sell your property, there's only one unit for sale. It can be at a point that when you sell a property, there is a lot of competitor that is competing with you. So resale market is determined by yourself. Looking at the situation of the market, looking at your project itself, is there a lot of competitor that's fighting the pie with you? So let's say, for example, if today the 39th floor unit is on sale, when they are on sale, 38th floor also on sale, 40th floor also on sale, 35th floor also on sale, 30th floor also on sale. If so many competitors, 39th floor definitely will not be able to fetch the most ideal price that they are looking at. But if third floor, when they are selling, no one else is selling, 6, 8, 9 square feet, only third floor is selling, third floor will be able to fetch a good price. So your sales is really determined by what? Your sales timing. But your purchase price, based on my experience, is always safer to go for a lower per square foot. Why? Because most of the time, you will be able to exit easier. That's one thing. Second thing, of course, when you choose a unit, it's not like I choose the cheapest, I will make money. No, because some unit cheapest, but the the unit is really placed in an area that is very difficult to sell. So if you need more advice, you can go to your PropNex agent. I am sure they will be able to advise you on how do we select a best unit for you to make the best profit out of it. Okay. So next, I'm going to share with you another example, which is in Hyde Park Residences. Okay, so where is Hyde Park? Hyde Park is in Seletar area, Fernvale area. So we look at this Hyde Park, this unit 38, stack 38, 0838 facing the gate, stack 57, 0657 facing the pool. So the gate facing, meaning that your living room face the gate. Every day you sit there, watch TV, you will see car coming in. So in fact, I asked all my clients, 100% of them say that stack 57 is a better unit because you have a partial pool view. So both unit is bought at 854,000, but stack 57 is slightly smaller, 893 square feet. Stack 38 is 980 square feet. So in fact, stack 57 is slightly more expensive, which makes sense because it gives you a better view. So now we look at the outcome. Stack 0657 is sold at 1.035. 0838, the one that we say I feel is not the best facing one, sold at 1.2 million. So the difference of profit, 165,000 difference in profit, which is I would say is really a lot of money to me. So and you can see they both bought the unit on the same day. So in fact, after I see all these things, I start to realize that you really need to know how to select unit. If you can go into a right development, and that's why I got 3 steps. One is select the right unit. Second is select the right development. Second is select the right unit. Third is when to exit based on your unit itself. So because you can select the right development, but wrong unit, you make 165,000 lesser. So now I'm going to share with you why is this so. You look at this scenario, 0838, 0657. 0838 is bought at a slightly lower per square foot. Okay, so a lot of my clients tell me, because 0838 is bigger, 980 square feet, that's why they can make much more profit. I can agree and disagree why I say so. Because 0838, if you see from on top, is actually sold at $65 higher in terms of per square foot. Okay, so you look at these two examples. Why is that so? Why 0838, the one that is not so good facing one, make more money? You look at the size, 980 and 893. It is indeed because of the size, but it's not because the size bigger you make more because the overall quantum is higher. It's not because of that. It's because you have to understand the demand and supply theory. Why I say so? Most of the buyers who bought a 3-bedroom, okay, 893 is a compact 3-bedroom. 980 is a bigger size 3-bedroom, which means most of the people buy, from my experience, buy those compact 3-bedroom are usually investors, because a lot of time when we want to buy a property, we want to invest, we want to go for the cheapest unit. True or not? So when we buy those who bought the 893 are mostly, I can say easily 40% investors, which means what? Investors are looking to what? To make money. Okay, which means at TOP, all the investors will want to come out and sell their property, which is what I saw in Hyde Park now. 893 square feet, there is plenty of unit for sale, which means that there is more supply. Okay, 980 square feet or the 1,000 square feet unit are usually owners who are buying for own stay. Okay, so owners who are buying for own stay, most of the time at TOP, will they sell or not? Most of the time they will not sell, which means the 980 square feet at TOP, there will be very, very little supply. And buyers who want to come in, usually they want to buy a bigger unit for own stay. So the demand for the bigger unit is higher, but the supply is very little. Whereas for the smaller unit, the demand is lower, but the supply is higher. So which make what? The bigger unit make more money, because you are selecting a project or I can say a unit that command more demand. So if we look at project itself, it's also demand supply. We look at overall property market itself, it's also demand and supply. But actually, to be very frank, if you have to go very micro, because even unit itself within a development, there is also the price is also very determined by the demand and supply of the unit that you are buying yourself. Because Fernvale is an area that there's a lot of HDB buyers coming in are usually own stay buyers. So most of the buyers that is coming in to buy are all buying for what? Own use. But if you are buying more of like investment unit, it's very difficult for you to dispose in future because there's no demand for what? For investment unit in that particular area. So you need to really understand based on the project that you are buying, the district that you are buying, what type of units will be more in demand. Okay. So next, I'm going to share with you another example, which is in Lakeside. This is a third example, and the last one, the last one will be Sims Urban Oasis. So this Lakeview, why am I picking this unit in particular to share with you? Because if you look at this stack 41, okay, I took these two stacks to compare. 41 face a full unblocked Lakeview, okay. Okay, so for 41 face a full unblocked Lakeview, very nice view. 16, if you can see, because one of my clients actually bought 16 through me, okay. So 16, if you can see, the master bedroom is actually facing another person's room, which means I go to my client house, they have to put curtain almost every day. And now we do a comparison. 16 is not the best unit that we can see. 41 have the full unblocked lake view. So now we see the outcome. So there's two stacks of 41 that is sold, 11 41, 07 41, and there's one stack of 16 that is sold. So 808 16 sold at 1472 per square foot, if you can see from here. Okay, make a profit of $300,000. I think that's a good amount of money. Stack 41 sold at 1505. By right, they sold at 1505 per square foot, which is higher than the stack 16. Is by right, it should be happening that way because they have a much better view. But they make less than $200,000. So why is that so? You look at the entry price of two units. First one, the 16 is 1280. The 41 is 1300 plus. So one of the key things you need to understand also, there is certainly premium for certain facing. But what type of premium is a premium that you should be paying? If the premium is too much, sometimes it will eat into your profit. So we need to be, because when I saw the premium of $150, I advised my client actually to go for the lower, the cheaper one, because I felt that we will have a higher chance to make money in future. Because I realized in resale market, sometimes the better facing will just be selling slightly higher than the not so good facing one. And the key message here you have to see, this stack for 16 is bought in August, but 41 is bought in April and May, which means when they bought 41, they actually got a chance to buy this stack 16 because it's not sold yet. But most of buyers choose to go for the best facing first. So really, really important to understand what is the most important if you're talking about making money. Of course, if you are buying for own stay, then that will be a very different thing, because own stay sometimes you will enjoy the full lake view. You will rather pay more for the full lake view. I mean, this is definitely up to you. But if we talk about investment, we need to really look into the numbers. So just now I was saying, very important. First one is the demand and supply of the unit type itself. Whether there's the demand of the in that vicinity, is there demand for this type of unit? Second thing, the entry price of the project, the unit itself, because entry price for project is important. But in fact, if you look at it, entry price for unit can be a huge difference. Same 3-bedroom, 1141, 1163. One is 1,002 square feet. One is 1,300 plus square feet. So per square foot. So the difference of the entry price can be a huge difference. So in terms of a unit selection, you also need to choose the right entry also. Okay. So last one, I'm going to share with you. The last example is Sims Urban Oasis. If you look at Sims Urban Oasis, two stack 14 and stack 43, both have a nice pool view. Okay, very nice pool view. Both is 667 square feet, and if you realize their purchase price is only $5,000 different, which make these two units very, very similar. But there's one different outcome. What is the different outcome? One of them is sold at 1.065. One of them is sold at 1.149 million. So you look at this, one of them make 186,000. The other one make 264,000. Exactly the same type of unit, same layout, everything same. So why this is happening? Okay. So I look at it and I understand because of one thing. Why? Because you look at this. This is sold in 2018 November, and this is sold in 2019 December. Because of the selling timing, there is a huge difference in profit. So why I say so? Because if you all remember correctly, in 2018, I myself want to go around searching for a new launch or a new properties to buy. You can't find much property that you can enter because the whole market is very, very lack of supply at that point of time. I remember at the end of 2017 all the way to the mid of 2018, there isn't much launch, maybe about 2-3 launches in that frame of time. So when the launches start to go down, people turn to what? People start to turn into resale property, which make the price of the resale go up. And if you remember, 2019 is a year of many, many launches. There's 60 over launches in 1 year. So in 2019, people are spoiled for choices. When they are spoiled for choices, what happens? They start to not look at resale. They start to what? They start to go into new launch market. So in that sense, you also need to know, when I enter, is it a time that is oversupply or no supply? When I exit, is it a time of oversupply or no supply? Frankly to say, the best time to enter is what? The best time to enter is when there is oversupply. And the best time to exit, when there is no supply. So if you exit when there's oversupply, your profit will start to eat into a profit because there's so much more competitor that's competing with you at that point of time. Okay, so what I just round off what I shared just now. First one is what? How do we select a development based on the profit margin? Second thing, looking at the chart itself, knowing that whether your property will still have upside, because when you look at the chart, you actually see a pattern in it. So these two things, whether your property itself, what properties that you want to buy, what type of properties that will make money, using the profit margin and the chart, it can really help you. Second thing, how do we select a right unit in a development? I share 4 examples. First one is actually Commonwealth Tower, high floor, low floor, good facing, bad facing. Second one is actually high park residences, determined by what? The demand and supply of that region. Third one is actually Lakeview. Why one make more, why one make lesser? Because of the entry price of the project, the unit itself. The last one seems about is why one make more, why one make less? Because of the exit time that you are talking about. So actually there's a lot of fine details that you need to really work with your agents to understand when is the best time for you to buy a property, what is the best property for you to buy, what is the best unit for you to buy, and when is the best time for you to exit the property. Actually, in fact, it's not as simple as we thought that we just anyhow buy, we will make money. Most of the time, we need to do a lot of intensive research before we even advise our client. So do really reach out to all your PropNex agent, and those who have invited you to this seminar, you can reach out to them. They will actually guide you along. Okay, so now I'm going to share with you one example about a project that is how do I look at property itself? A project that is in the market right now, because all those that I shared is project that is already sold, fully sold, resale is in the market. So now I'm sharing with you one project that we are talking about brand new launches. Okay, but this is just based on my analysis. Of course, you can still have your own set of thoughts. Okay, so now we see why I take Dairy Farm, because Dairy Farm is a mixed development, which I can say this also should be applying to the current Sengkang Grand residences. So if you look at this, both, why am I sharing this? Because you look at this is North Park residences. Okay, I think there's some question. Okay, later we answer the question. So North Park residences, why I take North Park? Because I will take all example of a mixed development or integrated development to do a comparison. So North Park residences resale comparison, big and small unit. Why I take? Because I saw there's a very close range. By right, most of the smaller unit will sell at a higher PSF. This is normally, this is my understanding, and I think this is all your understanding. But if you look at this, the 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom which is here are all sold at 1,500 to 1,600 per square foot in resale market for North Park residents. But the 3 bedroom and 4 bedroom is also sold at the range of 1,500 to 1,600 per square foot. But remember, in fact, when you buy from the developer, the 3 bedroom and 4 bedroom per square foot wise is definitely lower than the 1 and 2. So I'm going to show you some of the example later on. Another example, this is in, wait, I can't see the top part. This is in Watertown. So Watertown, you can see the same thing. 1 bedroom here, 1,003 to 1,004 per square foot. 3, 4 bedroom, also 1,003, 1,004 per square foot. So in fact, once for mixed, I realize for mixed development, once they touch resale, the price is the same one. The PSF will be very similar. I done a few example, and this one is actually Bedok residences. You can see the same thing happening. 1, 2 bedroom, 1,004 to 1,006 per square foot. 3, 4 bedroom, also 1,004 to 1,006 per square foot. So you look at this and you will understand why. Why? Because you look at this is dairy farm prices. Of course, you can approach your agents if you are looking for, this is just an analysis based on mixed development. It doesn't apply, for me, I look at a lot of properties. It doesn't apply to some other properties that is those normal condo. It doesn't behave the same way. Because I felt, I mean, this is my own opinion, I felt it's because mixed development, a lot of buyers are buying through a lot of emotions. So especially the bigger unit have more demand, because buyers who are buying mixed development are usually buyers who want to buy for own stay. Okay, because in fact, if you look at mixed development, a lot of prices are really quite high. When I first look at North Park, in Yishun selling at 1,003, 1,004 per square foot, I cannot believe myself. But today, I saw owner who sold at 1,006 per square foot and make 400 over 1,000 out of it. Why? Because actually the new buyers come in when they see the mall and they see the unit that is so convenient. A lot of them wanted to buy one for own stay, but nobody will want to buy an investment unit and rent out and give the tenant the best condo itself. You know, mostly it's because of our own emotions, then we will want to do that. So you look at this. For dairy farm residences, and in fact for Sengkang Grand also the same thing. The 2 bedroom for dairy farm is selling at 1,006 per square foot. The 3 bedroom and 4 bedroom is going at about 1,005. So the margin is what? The bigger unit is usually about $100 to $200 cheaper. If I remember correctly, Sengkang Grand, the bigger unit is about $200 cheaper than the smaller one. Okay, so if we do an example, because just now I've shown you one thing. What is the one thing? That all mixed development, when it touch resale, the big and the small one are selling at the same per square foot. So we look at this 624 square feet unit is a 2 bedroom, buying at 1,006 per square foot. This 1,149 is a 3 bedroom, buying at 1,528 per square foot. If we take example, because we take example of they are selling at exactly the same PSF when it touch resale. So if both sell at 1,850 per square foot, what is going to happen? The small one is only going to make $132,000 gain. The big one is looking at 360 over 1,000. Of course, this is just estimated that I'm putting in. I never say that we will hit 1,850 per square foot eventually. What I'm trying to say is that in resale market, the small and the big one usually touch the same price. So if we touch the same price, the big one will definitely make a lot more for mixed development. Okay, so now you see, I give you a closer look to this. This is North Park Residence. You look at this. This is the big unit. This is a small unit. So the big unit, 1,200, 1,000 square feet and above. Purchase price, you can see from here, 1,001 to 1,002 per square foot. Sales price, 1,400 to 1,600 per square foot. Small unit, purchase price, 1,314. Sales price, 1,400 to 1,600 per square foot. So small unit make about $200 per square foot in profit margin. The big unit make about $300 to $400. So you look at this. This is for North Park. Another example, Watertown. Same thing happened. Small one. But you can see here, small unit, purchase price 1,001, 1,002, or I can say 1,001, 1,002. So about 1,300 to 1,500. Big unit, 900 to 1,000 per square foot. So about $1,300 per square foot. So the bigger unit make more money. So why am I sharing with you all this about this example about dairy farm? I'm just sharing with you that when you want to really go and select a unit, really please engage professional advice. Get your agents to help you with that. And in fact, it can save you a lot of trouble because they are really well educated in all these things that we usually will pass down to all our agents. And I really hope that this will help you make a much wiser decision in your property purchase. Okay, Ken? I think I'm at the end, which I can take some question. Okay.
I think it's a very good delivery by Alex. Maybe you can go back to one of your slides. I think there's a question that was raised. Buying and selling examples for H2O and High Park. NV Residences versus Coco Palm. Are we assuming that the owners have another place to stay, means to say that it's a pure investment property for rental?
Okay, so definitely it is depending on what you are looking at, because for myself, I actually don't stay in the property that I buy. I currently hold 3 properties, but I stay in a property that I'm a tenant. So I actually rent a property, and whichever of my property I reach a certain point that I feel that is the max it can go, it cannot go up further, I will swap the property, because I realize once I move in and stay in the property that I'm staying, that I purchased, a lot of time when logically I know it's a time to sell, emotionally I will not want to sell. So you can adopt based on what you actually wanted. There's a few choices. First is, if you can, definitely one thing I say, you can have 2 properties. One will be for own stay. Second one will be for purely investment. So when you hit the point that you feel that, hey, this is the point that I think there is no more upside potential, I can swap it. But the own stay one, I will just keep it forever until the point that I feel that I need to change of location or etc. But definitely some of the buyers are also adopting what I'm doing. I just continue to change my property, but I continue to rent a property that is where I require in terms like the property will fit into what I need in terms of my emotional needs. Okay, and any other, let's see, new question. So, okay, I think I saw one question is, North Park residents already reached the price peak. I mean, based on my personal opinion, I think this is almost the price that is there already. I don't think there will be a lot of more upside potential that we are talking about. Maybe, so I think the main key thing is that you need to weigh your risk and your gain in a way. Why I say so? Maybe I say, I can't say that totally there's no upside. What maybe I can say that maybe the maximum it can go up is another $100 per square foot. So do you want to keep a property that have this $100 but forgo another one that maybe you can make $300? So we weigh by all these things, because nobody can really determine whether the property will still continue to go up. If now I say no upside, then later it touched 1,008, 1,007, then I can't answer for that. But what I'm trying to say is that we weigh by the risk and the gain that individual property can offer to us. Okay.
I think that's very insightful by Alex. And then the point that he's trying to bring across is that before you buy anything, there should be expected projected returns. One, it hits your estimated projected returns. Maybe that's something that you should consider speaking to your consultant too. So normally when you invest, I think Alex have a famous saying, 2 words, how long and how much. And these are the 2 key driving points. Very interestingly that you point out some points about in the mixed development, the bigger units and the smaller units will eventually hit the same per square feet. Maybe can you explain in normal projects, right? The smaller units, do they command a higher PSF when you buy in?
Okay, so in all projects, from what I know, of course there is certainly some developer that is changing the strategy a bit. But most of the developer, let's say about 90 to 95% of the developer, they usually price the smaller unit at $100 to $200 premium in terms of per square foot. But there is a slight change of strategy for some developer recently. So of course, whenever I want to buy a property, I will look at the overall property itself. Based on that area, what type of units will have more demand? If the type of unit have more demand is at the lower per square foot, these are the type of units that I will want to buy. Okay, so but like going back to the question, most of the smaller unit command a higher PSF in the new launch market, even in the resale market.
I think that's a very good driving point. What Alex is trying to say is that for some identified developments, handpicked units, For the bigger units, when you buy in at start for mixed development, the per square feet is much lower than the smaller units. Eventually, it might match the same per square feet. So the growth rate is there. That may be what Alex is trying to drive. So Alex, Linda have a very good question. General feel, I mean, just based on your own gut feel, what do you feel on pricing in the next 2 quarters in real estate?
Okay, personally, I felt if you are definitely talking about resale property today, for the next 2 quarters, I would say that the resale market will be a bit more soft, definitely because of the COVID. But if you're talking about new launch property, you have to definitely look at one very important factor, which is the land price that the developer are buying into. So if the land price that, like example, the next few launches, actually all these data you can access through your agents. If the next few launches, the land price are still at a certain price point, which means the developer will not be able to sell much lower than their break-even price. They will usually, the lowest they can go is definitely at break-even price, because bank actually dictate the developer to sell at a certain price. Like example, if you want to sign a loan with me, you cannot sell below this price point. There's a restriction that they actually put onto the developer. So if you are concerned about the next 2 quarters, which I think a lot of buyers are very concerned about it, we are not sure where the movement of the prices will be. You can go into developments that the profit margin is not high, which put you in a very safe environment, because there's no way the developer is going to drop the price. But for typically for resale market, I would say that the whole sentiment will be a bit softer. So maybe it's the right time for you to revisit and see whether you want to do some changes to a property, because this is the time that you can really sit down and think about it. Yeah.
I think that's a wonderful answer by Alex. The next one, Alvin Lin has a question. I think maybe because of how uniquely you identify developments and even units itself. He's asking a question. Alex, in your own opinion, where are the upcoming sector or launches that we should keep an eye on in your personal view?
Okay, in the next few months, there's a few launches that is upcoming. First one, I felt that you should take a look is actually Penrose. But of course, I can't, because the location is quite attractive, but the key thing is still what? Because the new launches, we don't know what price the developer is going to launch at. So one of the main key factors you got to look at is at that point when the developer launched the property, what price they are looking at. Okay, so the price point is the most important. To me, I don't favor just, let's say, very good location, but the price is very high. I will not go into the development itself. But I will also say that I usually like to go into post-launch project. Why I say so? Because post-launch project is project that you can really go in and look at the whole development, look at the prices, sit down, and really analyze what are the units that is a good unit for you to enter. But pre-launch, sometimes you don't have the luxury of having all the things on hand. You have to go into it in a situation that you will be a bit stressful. So, but if you ask me about the few more projects that is upcoming, first is Penrose that I find that is very interesting. Second one upcoming will be the one in Clementi Avenue 1. I can't remember the name offhand. Yeah.
I think it's quite exciting, interesting. Don't mind me. Today we have somebody very interesting with us today. So maybe I'll hand over to our CEO, Mr. Muhammad Ismail. He's here in this seminar. He may want to say a few words. CEO, over to you.
Hi, first and foremost, thank you so much, Alex, for giving a lot of analysis of the past transactions to make it quite clear the difference between paying a high entry price based on per square foot versus paying a lower entry price based on per square foot, how one is able to make some profit. And I would just like to thank all the 1,800 over participants who came in. I think this is an initiative from PropNex that we want to give a lot of information and educations to the salespeople who are listening, as well as to the clients. What is interesting here is this: tomorrow at about the same time at 8 p.m., I'm going to conduct a consumer seminar on real estate. But what is so uniquely different here is I'm going to bring you back to 70 years ago in 1950s, and then I bring very quickly to year 2020 as of today's URA announcements of the project sales for last month. And I'm not going to sell any product, but just to give you the fundamentals of investing. And is it really true? People say that when you invest in a property, you can make 1000%. Is it a myth, or is it just people are telling stories? So all said, I think if you're still free tomorrow yourself, and get your friends to come and join in at 8 p.m. And once again, thank you to Alex for a very interesting, well articulated seminar, and to all the participants, thank you so much for trusting and listening to our PropNex Reach Out program.
Thank you, CEO. So for those of you that are keen, tomorrow 8 p.m. approach your PropNex salesperson. They'll send you the meeting ID and code as well. Maybe we'll take another 2 questions, Alex, before we end the seminar tonight. I think there's resounding response in the Q&A. One of them, let me see, what do we have here? Let me check it out. I mean, maybe this one best answered by Alex. Is quite interesting. Kent Hill Residences. The price is reversed, whereby the bigger units are higher in per square feet. May we just understand from your own point of view, what do you think the logic behind this strategy by the developer? We can only offer our own viewpoints because end of the day, this is the developer's pricing strategy.
Okay, so for Kent Hill itself, if you realize the bigger unit are all holding the better facing. So because I'm the IC there, so if you see the bigger units are all facing the greenery, which is the Kent Hill itself. The smaller unit are usually facing the road or facing the blocks are quite near to each other. So the developer actually engage this strategy because the bigger unit are usually buyers that is buying for own stay. You can't give them a much lousier facing. You need to give them the best facing. But definitely, if I look at the second question, is the 100 square meter shoebox ruling a positive or negative thing for the affected area? I would say if you are buying a smaller unit in Kent Hill because it's a 100 square meter area that is affected, it will be beneficial to you. Why? Because that location will not have newer one-bedroom available in future because of the restriction that is in place. So next time you might be the only one that is the newest in that locality itself. So why the developer is doing that, the pricing, I will just round it off again, because the bigger unit buyers are all buying through emotion. So you need to leave the better facing for them. That's why they have to price it higher, but yet giving the better facing. No choice on that sense. Yeah, correct.
I think that was well answered by Alex. It's about the unique attributes whereby the developer put the facing towards a very good view, targeting own stay buyers. The next one, I think Alex, you have done a lot of differences between units in the same development, different facing, price point. There's been a question asked, what do you think about leasehold versus freehold properties?
Okay, so to me, I definitely, if you ask me, if I want to buy a house for own stay, which means that for the next, I'm going to renovate for the next 10, 20 years, I'm not going to move out, I will really consider freehold, because leasehold is the type of property that we wouldn't be able to hold for the next 10, 15 years. Every 3-5 years or every 8 years, we might need to think about changing. But if you talk about profit margin, from my experience, leasehold usually give you better returns. So because in fact, if you talk about new freehold, when you enter, it's already at quite a high price. Some of them can be touching $2,000 over dollars per square foot. So my personal preference for investment is leasehold. But if I'm buying for own stay and I want to stay there for long, I might go for freehold. Yeah, so that's my point of view for the difference between leasehold and freehold. Yeah,
I think that's wonderful. Oh, so the next question. Just now you mentioned about Penrose, right? What if Penrose were to launch at the same price as Sim Urban's resale? How do you think that we should compare the two developments? Means Sim Urban Oasis resale versus Penrose new launch. What if they are at the same per square feet?
Okay, so definitely, even if Penrose is launched higher than Sims Urban Oasis, I'll just share with you one last example. If I don't have the chart with me, but if you have, if you know where is Commonwealth Tower and where is Queen's, the Queen's, you will understand one thing. Because when Queen's is at 1,200, 1,300 per square foot. Commonwealth Tower is launched at $1,600 per square foot, which a lot of my clients tell me it's very crazy to go into Commonwealth Tower, which I also agree with them about 3-4 years ago. Okay, but recently Commonwealth Tower TOP and it touched $1,800 to $2,000 per square foot, but Queens is still at $1,300. So looking at that, I realized one thing. Like what I say, property is always determined by demand and supply. Why does new launches prices go up? Because at the point of TOP, there is a certain amount of surge in demand. Because everybody, most of the time, we want to come in and buy a property at TOP. But for resale market, it's different. Resale market, there's still transaction, but there is no surge in demand at a particular point, which will actually push the price up for the whole development itself. So resale market, the price point, whether it will go or not, it is determined by the whole market demand and supply. Meaning that if the whole market is lack of supply and there's a lot of demand in the whole market, the price of resale property will eventually go up. But new launch is very different. New launch is because at the point of TOP, suddenly a lot of people are coming together. Most of the time, when there's more demand, we can fetch a better price. So if you ask me, Penrose and Sims Urban, even if Penrose is slightly higher, for my own view, I will go for Penrose.
I think that's a very good answer. Main thing, what Alex is trying to share over here is the intensity in the amount of transaction will help to push the price and support the price level. That's why in the new launch environment, you will see the transaction are mostly back-to-back because developers have a certain time frame to sell. Whereby in the resale development itself, supply depends on the owners, depend on their natural cycle. Are they ready to relocate? Are they in their next life stage to right size, to upgrade, or to shift out to another area? So that one will depend on everybody's different timeline, which may be spread out long and far. And over there, we may not get the support level in terms of transaction. Without the amount of transaction to support the price will not go up quickly, which means to say, we're not saying that resale will not appreciate. Don't get us wrong. We're just trying to share with you buyer behavior that we observe as a real estate professional in the market. These are all buyer behaviors. We're just explaining to everyone in the resale environment, the buyer behavior behave like this in transaction are slower, which is why the price, even if we appreciate, will be of a slower intensity. So Alex mentioned, comparing over the same timeline of 3 years, a new launch generally, if we're comparing similar products, will appreciate more than a resale in the same area. Okay, maybe the last two questions. Chi Wei have a question, Alex. When a new launch is quickly sold out, does it mean that a lot of people does it mean that there's a lot of demand over there and there's better capital appreciation once TOP, like Park Botania?
Okay, when a new launch is quickly sold out, it can be based on a few. Of course, first reason is definitely there's more demand in the area, but you also have to be very careful in the purchase price that you are going into, because I have seen developments that buy on the same day, like just now I show you, the per square foot can have, I have seen even $500 per square foot difference in terms of purchase price. So the unit that you are selecting need to be very careful on that. But definitely, like I say, when new launch sold out fast, meaning that there's demand. But it can be also like the overall market. If let's say this year, like 2019, there's 60 over launches. However good the new launch is, it cannot sold out. But if 2018, there is only 3 launches, even the new launch is not in a place that a lot of people want, but it will still sell out because that is the only available in the market that people can buy. So it's also, you have to also see the overall situation of the market itself, how many properties, how many launches are in the market to determine that, in fact, which I would say that go to your agent, ask your agent. I think they can give you a very sound advice. Yeah.
I think that's a very good answer and very, very concise. Maybe you come to the last one is that from Doreen, my friend, Mr. Yo asked that how come most of the consumer seminar, we always emphasize on entry price, but then what we shared just now, right, also indicate otherwise or not necessary. I mean, she's trying to ask, besides entry price, is there any other things that we need to take note about when buying a property? Just some general tips to the public over here.
So firstly is definitely like what you say is entry price, which secondly, just now I mentioned very importantly, is the demand and supply of that area. So meaning like you should even look into this unit particular type. Is there a demand in that particular area? So to be very frank, your agents will know that, because when they serve resale buyer, some resale buyer will actually tell them, hey, like for example, for me, they will tell me like, hey Alex, I only want this layout. The rest of layout you don't show me. This layout, whatever facing, I can accept. You just show me this layout. So which I know, this location, people particularly like a certain type of layout because this layout have a certain criteria that fit into the people that is staying in this area. So if we can understand this part, you will be able to get a good property even just so if these two things, entry price and this demand and supply, you can manage these two things well, I would say that you will be able to get a good unit for yourself in order for you to make the max profit out of it.
I think, thank you, Alex. Very well answered today. I think today we really keep to the time, 8 to 9 p.m. I hope everyone have a very good takeaway. Really appreciate Alex for spending your time to craft out this wonderful sharing with all of us. Even I benefited a lot. Alex, thank you very much. And for the rest of the consumers, thank you for your time today. Thank you for your trust. Hope everyone stays safe, healthy. Any more questions, feel free to approach your PropNex consultant. In fact, all the materials that we shared today and even more is made available to all of them, and they can share more with you via Zoom. Because today we only have 45 minutes. Normally, we train our people in a 2 to 3 hour training environment. They are trained well in depth. They attend more than 60, 70, 80 hours of training every year just to get them up to date with real estate trend. More than just a buy, sell, rent agents, a lot of them are very well versed in calculation, identifying market trends, and a lot of other skills involved. So thank you for your trust. Tomorrow, we hope to see you in the session with our CEO. It's going to be fun. And he promised to make it very, very interesting. What should your next move be in today's real estate market? Speaking from the man itself. Thank you all of you. Wish you a very good night. Thank you, Alex. See you very, very soon. Stay safe, everyone.